For the first time under Xavi, and that is even counting the Benfica and Villarreal matches, we were reminded as Kool-Aids that this is going to be a long process. Xavi will eventually turn things around, but the squad the way it is the squad the way it is. And the way this team is constructed, even a little bit of rotation is going to bite Barca in the bum. So with one eye, and that being a nervous side eye at Bayern Munich midweek, let's get this over with. The 5 headlines from Barca's 1-0 loss to Real Betis. 1. Ugly match. That's it. This is an ugly match. Barcelona with 12 first half fouls, 18 total first half fouls. Just a disgusting game. Also, those 5 minutes added in the first half, having to do a little bit with Gavi's injury. This one was just gross. Usually I like to look at tactics, but it was a lot of things that we've already kind of seen from Barcelona and the things that Xavi wants to get across, but his team not really executing those things. And when Barca has a flow and Barca is thriving, Nico and Gavi both play well. But for both of them, the story of this match was negative and for different reasons. And starting with the Gavi injury, those who listen to the podcast regularly know that head injuries are something that I take very, very seriously. And I'm embarrassed, not necessarily just the Camp Nou staff, but another incident that I had to watch where the people in the stadium were not taking concussion protocol and a head injury as seriously as they should. It's so antiquated. It's not 1880. These aren't rugby rules. They should be taking head injuries seriously. And I know that means leaving you with a man down for a little bit of time while the medical staff checks out a player. But, we've got to do better. And this stupid counter argument that, players are going to flop more and fake those head injuries when it's advantageous to them. Well, then those players need to be fined and justice has to be served on the back end after these matches happen. But in the case of that second time that Gavi got hit in the head and he goes down, if he's out for multiple weeks or months or he gets headaches for the rest of his life, it's disgusting to me. And that's kind of how I felt about this match, but the Gavi thing kind of sent it over the edge. And Nico's performance and how ugly that was more indicative of the game itself. Nico was constantly fouling his first poor game, I think, since he became a bigger part of the team and began starting. Nico had an interesting day, generally a step slow in losing his duels and committing too many fouls, but he was tidy actually going forward, though it never led to anything. Nico looked today like he was out-experienced by Guardado and Guido Rodriguez. They were constantly finding ways to either take a hit or unbalance him and the team in the midfield enough for Nico to never find that rhythm that he usually does find. And the press, where he's been very good, was largely ineffective today. I don't know if it's rotation or the 4-3-3. And if Gavi and Nico aren't pressing, something that they've been pretty effective at recently, they wind up being ineffective in a game like this that is ugly, that doesn't have flow, and they have to find a way to have an outcome in a different way, something that a young player is going to struggle to do. 2 is the first big rotation. Seeing this lineup, that's a 4-3-3. Lenglet, Coutinho, and Dest back from injury. Frank de Jong on the bench for the first time in a long time. Piqué joined him, and I guess you could say Eric Garcia too, and Dembélé still not fit enough to start. And that reminded you that even though this was an important La Liga match, Bayern Munich midweek has huge ramifications on the rest of the season. And this rotation, it felt like in the first half, ending 0-0, that Barca had survived the risk, but because they wind up losing, it makes playing Bayern Munich after a rotated game when morale might be a little bit down, it might come back to bite Barca too. The positive side of the fact that you lost points to a team you're fighting for a Champions League spot with next year is that I actually commend Xavi's bravery to rotate. I don't know when the last time we actually saw an FC Barcelona manager rotate in the situation that isn't Alaves or Cadiz, to actually rotate against a top 6 opponent. Is it risky? Yeah, maybe even a little bit naive, but the fact that Xavi rotated in this kind of situation tells me that he is not actually managing game by game for his job. And it's been a long time since a Barcelona manager had the job security to take a risk like this. And it didn't pay off. That is unfortunate, yes. But as I said, I commend the bravery. And even if Xavi did start Frankie de Jong or Luke de Jong, but Luke de Jong didn't play enough to throw any insults at him today. Frankie de Jong had a rough day. And if that's the best that he was going to have today in 90 minutes, Barcelona may have lost that game by more. Just wasn't Frankie's day today. 3. Riqui Puig was better than Coutinho. Is it fair? Is it safe? Is it right to compare 2 bench players that likely won't get on the field when everybody is fit? Probably not, but in this kind of game with heavy rotation, when the likes of Coutinho and Puig had to be pivotal players in winning you 3 points, that's what we're doing today. Coutinho did have Barca's only big chance in the first half and looked good for 10 minutes, but there is no way that you can put together a team where you get even close to Coutinho's best. On the other side of that, Puig today with the ball was a difference maker. 43 of 45 on his passing, 1 of 2 on his long balls. And quite a few of those passes maybe not being considered long balls, but diagonal balls out to Dembele or Dest that switched play and made Barca more dangerous. It also tells me with 54 touches that he was immediately releasing the ball, or usually releasing the ball upon receiving it. He also defensively had 1 interception and was 2 for 3 on his duels. And those are the numbers that you circle and say, hey, maybe you can get more minutes if that part of your game has improved. As I keep saying over and over again, the Coutinho problem is fit. The Puig problem is that Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, Busquets, Nico, Gavi are just all better players at the moment. And Puig is not going to get the required time and actually improve on what needs to be worked on to move ahead of those players in the queue. And that's unfortunate for Ricky Puig, but give me Puig the last 20 to 30 minutes of almost every game, especially when a team is in a low block, especially when a team is hanging on for a lead. This fits him the best. 4 is action from the wings. Even last season or the multiple seasons in the past, a lot of the big players in this Real Betis Barcelona matchup come through the middle. But this game seems to always be decided on the wings. And for the second straight game, I was gutted that Easy Abde missed that chance because I think he deserved that goal. Alex Moreno had won the early battles in this match with Easy Abde, but I thought Abde figured some things out, whether that was instructions at halftime or just some coaxing from the sideline. Maybe that was just persistence going at Moreno over and over and over again. But he got better as the game went on. I also thought he was bright when he moved over to his natural left wing with his right foot against Hector Bellerin. Even though it felt like Easy Abde didn't have the best day, he still went 4 for 7 on his dribbles. And he did have more success once Dembele came on. And for the second straight game, Barcelona looks night and day when Dembele hits the field. For better or worse sometimes, Dembele still gave the ball away 10 times, which isn't great. But he created that big chance to Abde, and he always looked dangerous, commanding a double team and a little bit of help from that Real Betis back line, who got deeper and deeper after their goal. I do just want to say Memphis' name in this review, but that's about all I can do here. He was constantly outnumbered, and the only positive was that he and Puig looked good together, and that he and Dembele were trying to work off one another. His runs improved when Dembele came on the field, but that's about all I can say about Memphis, not his day. And 5 is that Marc Bartra, former Barcelona player, was the man of the match. If Barcelona had gotten a result, then Sergio Busquets was easily Barcelona's best player in that game. He was clinical in his distribution. His 7 long balls tell you that he was the only one consistently switching the point of attack in the first half, and he was 7 of 8 on his duels. 3 interceptions, 5 tackles, and I know people will complain about the counterattack. Where was Busquets? But Busquets is the only reason why this game didn't end worse, and why Barca didn't give up more goals on the counterattack. You could also make an argument for man of the match between Alex Moreno or Juanmi, who did have the goal. Juanmi in terrific form this season, 9 goals for him. You could have had an earlier one if not for the offside in the first half too. So credit to those two. But for me, Marc Bartra was the difference between this game being 1-1 and this game being 1-0. As Barcelona found the game, as they got better and better, Marc Bartra also improved at that same clip, and he's the reason why Barca did not get the opener. Instead, Real Betis, against the run of play in an ugly fashion just like this game, wind up getting one where Barca, they could have defended better, but it's because Ronald Araujo winds up getting the header, goes to the ground, he's not in position, and Real Betis were able to take advantage of that counterattack in that way. A tough decision by Dest. Lenglet, maybe not the best. Frenkie de Jong also a bit flat-footed. Ter Stegen, who knows about his positioning in the 3-on-2. But either way, for Marc Bartra, he can say that he was the stone at the back that pushed his team forward. So congratulations to the former Blaugrana man for being at least my man of the match. Real Betis are now 3rd in the table, and Pellegrini, when he came in, had to fix that defense. Marc Bartra going up a level is a big reason why. So yeah, not a lot of positives here, and definitely a reminder of where Barca is at the moment. 23 points from 15 matches is the worst league start since the 2003 season, 18 years ago. And on Wednesday, it could be the Europa League, being the first time that Barcelona failed to get out of the group stage in 21 years. But I'll keep saying it, patience is key. And not just a few weeks of patience, but multiple transfer windows worth of patience. That's why we talked about Ferran Torres midweek. 1 or 2 really important players, including injured players like Fati and Pedri coming back, can change the balance of these slim margin games. A game where Barcelona was fully rotated with players that likely won't be here next year even. And that's just the lumps of where Barca is right now. So I hope you stick with me through the ups and the downs. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.